Over the headphones is crazy.
I can't. There's no other way. There's no other way.
Wonder, did you make
I just got the periwinkle do-rag. Shorty told us fuck, she made me spill my fucking cup. My baby, why you made me do that? Fire like my shoe rag. Every single thing I touch is golden. Bitch, I'm loaded, nigga, keep it going. I just got the periwinkle do-rag. Shorty told us fuck, she made me spill my fucking cup. My baby, why you made me do that? Fire like my shoe rag. Every single thing I touch is golden. Bitch, I'm loaded, nigga, keep it going. We've been going.
I like how this looks though. I don't like these fake ass diamonds.
Yeah, I like chill shit. I don't like crazy shit. But
okay, let's get to going.
Hello, guys. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Preem Pod. Again, a place where you're going to be able to laugh, learn, and grow. I'm Jace Preem, sitting here with
Rose the engineer.
And I'm officially done saying what episode we're on because you never know what's going to happen in post. And there have already been 2 videos I've edited where I say an episode and I have to put something on the screen that says, no, it's actually this. Yeah. So not telling you guys, I have no clue what episode this is, but this is another week. Before we, as always, before we do jump into everything, I do want to reflect on things since we last spoke because it's kind of been a while since we shot. So I'll let you go first. I kind of got a lot for you, what's been going on since the last time we met?
Well, I am trying to adjust because my 4-year-old started school. So now I have to wake up at 6:30 in the morning and still work till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning at the studio, so things are a mishmash for me right now. I'm just trying to sort it out, but it's okay. I was sick yesterday. I had to cancel sessions because you might not know this, but when your kids go back to school, automatic sick.
Yeah, that was what I was, my little brother.
Yeah, automatic sick. You're just done. So and I was preparing for it. I've been it should be worse, but I was preparing a week before she went to school. I started eating vitamin C every day.
Oh, nice.
You know what I mean? The little
Oh.
chalky tay in the morning. You know what I mean? And I've been continuing. So I got hit with a little bit, but I slept it off in 8 hours. Whereas before it would be devastating, and it took me out. That preschool sickness will destroy you.
Yeah,
but anyway,
they be eating boogers and shit. Bro.
Yeah,
they're real shit.
They eat boogers and they eat each other's boogers.
Oh.
And then it's a whole. The kids are gross. Yeah. Kids are gross. They're like, eat this worm covered in diaper socks.
If you don't, you're gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not in preschool. Definitely middle school.
Yeah.
Hit them with
I wouldn't be surprised if that's because they're getting they're evolving.
They're getting ballsy. Shit. These kids these days, getting too smart.
Now I got sick. I got sick and got her sick. We really still don't know what that was. It was all the symptoms of COVID, but it went away.
Yeah.
But I got sick and I posted on my story, if you're an entrepreneur, POV, you're an entrepreneur and you're sick. I had NyQuil, DayQuil, emergency, fucking, what was it? It was the Alka-Seltzer plus all that shit on my desk. And I got rid of that cold with 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, with the tonic.
Yeah, I was going crazy.
With the CVS potion.
You can't afford to be sick. And that's another thing. Yeah. I met with my mom yesterday and we were kind of talking about entrepreneurship. And it's I really want her to I really want to push her into it. But she reminds me of all these things. Cause it's when you're sick though, as an entrepreneur, that's death. It's you're not making no bread.
Right. Well, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Until you have a team, obviously.
Yeah, it's definitely restrictive. So, it's one of those things. But it's the thing I learned with kids in general, and I'm glad I did, is I definitely enjoy the slow down moments because if without the slow down moments, I just push myself all the way to the wall and then I get myself to a point where I'm being unproductive. You know what I mean? So, but obviously it's this just comes with it. I love being a father, first and foremost anyway.
Yeah, we can tell. We can tell.
Good.
And I love it.
Good.
I love love. Good. And I love I think I'm a person who loves all type of love, really relationship love. But I do always kind of cheese for a second when I see a dad and a daughter out, when it's just them two.
Yeah.
But it's that's
she's my best friend. And I don't mean that she's literally my best friend. I tell her,
legit.
it's awesome. The other day I was because I'm still broke. I'm all right, E, next summer. I'm next summer, your dad's gonna, we're gonna have a better summer next year because of this. I was telling her about this podcast and the trajectory of the things and stuff. And she's like, can we go to the studio? And I'm like, hell yeah, we can go to the studio. Yeah, but I tell her little shit. I started giving her affirmations to go to preschool. So every day when we're driving, I'm like, you're the best. She repeats it. I'm like, what else is it? I love myself. I can do anything. And I just kind of ingrained that in her, right? Because especially when you go in with all these kids, right? And it's these kids, there's a social order. So it's like the most, the thing that I want to teach them is like the most important person to love is the one in the mirror. And so it's like, and so, but kids naturally kind of do that because they don't know.
Yeah.
And then once you get into the ecosystem, the judgments and all that stuff come. So I'm just trying to get that now.
Yeah.
I wonder if
Foundation.
right. I obviously that could backfire in a way where it becomes sort of like undeserved ego, where she's like, my dad always said I was the best and I have no flaws. But then it's like, but I'll add the part 2 later where it's like, now you have to work though.
Yeah, now you have to earn that shit.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, but that's really it. I'm just, and I'm still getting my clients or whatever. Word of mouth is starting to kind of go, and that's really it. Really I'm just kind of biding my time until Christmas, push past Christmas. You're grinding hard. You're basically grinding hard as fuck for me in a sense, right? You gave me a super layup. Shout out to you. And I appreciate you.
Oh, yeah.
And I told you off camera, like, you're turning me up right now. You are definitely turning me up. So yeah, slow motion, hanging with the kids.
I've been seeing it too, man. And it's like over here, like you said, just grinding, bro. Just grinding every single day. With the new place, like I've been liking the new place. A couple complaints though, like spiders. Like I guess because I'm in Auburn Hills, and I guess we're like by the water, so I've seen like 5 spiders.
Yeah,
and that's way more than I should. So it's like I feel like if I see like 2 or 3 more, then it's gonna be like place searching again, like trying to
really
content. I mean, I don't fuck with spiders, and it's like
enough to move.
And I will never be. I'm not ashamed to say that at all. And like I just had her kill a spider like the other day. She was like, "Are you serious?" And like because she had just killed like the last 2 spiders, right? So it was like she's like, "Are you seriously not going to kill this?" And I'm like, "No, like I really want you to understand this. Like I need you to get this."
I have a soft spot for arachnophobia though, because my buddy growing up, who was like, he was a big dude, like anyway, and he was tough and nothing fucked with him except spiders. Except spiders. And so like, but there's an interesting thing about spiders is that like people are naturally afraid of spiders, snakes, wolves.
I'm not that afraid of snakes. It's just like, don't bite me, but they don't gross me out,
Right. Well, they did studies
wolves, I mean, it's a wolf.
Right.
So like, don't eat me. But like, again, it's not like a scary thing. Spiders are like scary though, terrifying to me.
Interesting. Like, Bianca's like that too.
You're not good.
Yeah,
I will kill anything else. I will fucking step on a rat's head if you need me to, but I'm not stepping on a spider.
I killed a lizard with a boulder one time to prove dominance for my girlfriend's grandmother. Yeah, that's a whole story.
You go end up, bro. What's the kid who started with the killing the animals, bro?
Every serial killer ever.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't be every serial killer ever.
No, but that was like 2 years ago. We were in Puerto Rico.
That was 2 years ago. I'm thinking this was something you did as a child.
No. This was 2 years ago. No, because we went to Puerto Rico and they have an iguana problem. And so she has a BB gun. And she just fucking, maybe it's not iguanas, but it's a lizard. She
iguanas, bro.
She has a gun. She has like a BB gun, right? You can get that mic. You should get that mic right there.
Oh, yeah. Will that pick up?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
wherever it's plugged in. Yeah, you could fiddle with that. We could have you in here. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
but
off camera.
Yeah, no, she would just pop shots at these fucking lizards, bro, because they're fucking up the whole ecosystem or whatever. But yeah, she got one, and then like it was on the ground, and I took up a boulder and I hit it over the head. But she respected me for it. She respected the fuck out of me for it.
You just ended a life. Sure. She has to.
No, but it's one of those things you know how it's like the matriarch of the family. Like as a man, you have to like prove.
Yeah, you gotta do some shit.
You gotta not
get your
be
hands dirty.
Right, but she was like, we gotta kill these whatever, and she was shooting at them and shit, and everyone was like, ha ha ha, like it was a joke. And I'm like, I very much understand that she is serious about this mission. She is serious as fuck. But anyway, all right, let's get into some shit.
Spiders, bro. And there's a few just other updates that we have. We got some budgeted time. We only add yellow. We got our ADHD alarm over here to make sure that we stay away. And we're on yellow right now, guys. So we're chilling. So we're good. But beyond that, the spiders problem, hopefully we can maybe pay somebody else to do that, which leads me into another thing with this place. I've been so lazy and I've been paying people to do things. Mm-hmm. Like I saw this post that said, how will people know when you made it? Like, what are the small things that they'll notice? And me is just, we had a bunch of cardboard boxes and I didn't want to walk them to the trash. So I paid someone like $150 to come out and take them to get rid of that shit because it was just full. Also, I paying this guy $200 to put together the shit that I bought because I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been That was really the only other thing, just paying other people to do shit with the place. Beyond that, we hired some people. We hired Trenair as our new photographer for Pre Media. So if you guys this is your first episode, I just launched my production company, Pre Media. We're gonna have a really hard launch to start November, but we've already started taking some clients so far. But we have Trenair, photographer, which is gonna be one of our photographers, and she's a videographer in training. She's done one job for us so far. Her Instagram is Trenair's Photog. It's photography without the free. It's Trenair's Photog, right? I hope I said that right, Trenair. And then we got Gabby, another photographer, videographer in training as well. She's done 2 jobs for us so far. Instagram is Gabby Got Fans _ and we have Nita, who is our photographer, who will be a video editor, podcast assistant, podcast co-host. Fiance, all that good stuff. And she's gonna be helping us out a lot. Her Instagram is Artistry by Nita with 2 A's. She's doing a lot of exciting stuff over there as well. But that's really been it, man. I mean, kind of before we did jump into today's talk, I wanted to officially announce our new podcast schedule. And this is going to start like immediately. So far, if you guys haven't noticed, we've been shooting 1 to 2 times a week and dropping once a week so far. But starting next week, we'll be shooting 3 times a week. And starting on the 23rd, we'll be dropping 3 times a week as well. So one episode will be with Nita and I, and we will be talking, diving into relationships, do's and don'ts, how to find success with your partner, things like that. Another will be with just Rose and myself. We will be talking about music, business, kind of like consistent with what we've been talking about, marketing, growing, being better than you were yesterday. And then our last episode of that week will be with the guests. We haven't finalized when they're going to drop yet, like what days, but just know you will have 3 episodes, one with me, one with Rose and myself, and then one possibly combination of all 3 or with a guest. So that's our new schedule for you guys. But today's episode is part 2 of episode 5. So we're going to be touching more on what it takes to be a man and the honeymoon phase of entrepreneurship, right? So we'll be talking about, is it really hard? Like, in our opinion, is it really hard being a man? We'll be talking about gender roles. We'll be talking about manhood and, again, what that means to each of us in our respective ages at this point. And again, for those of you who have no clue what it is, we'll be breaking down what the honeymoon phase of entrepreneurship is and our experiences with it, right? So again, if you guys tuned in by accident, please, you want to lock in, especially if you're a male entrepreneur specifically. I'm talking about you struggling with your identity, struggling with getting your bread up, or getting your business and career off the ground, right? So kind of to jump in, man, like with identity, because, when it comes to being what it takes to be a man, it kind of starts with identity. What do you believe makes you a man?
Taking on responsibilities and doing them. Being honest when you say you do things, you do them. And just doing the thing that you're supposed to do as a leader, specifically for your family. Like specifically for, I'm basically married with 2 kids. So I place it in that way, doing the things required to take care of your wife and your children. Right. And not necessarily bitching about it. That doesn't mean no help. That just means accepting the responsibility and finding ways to do them, without complaint.
I like that. I like the without complaint and the bitching about it. So like to even dive deeper into what that means and what that looks like, there are certain times when you have responsibilities and you signed up for them and you kind of know what they are. I think when you say that, I think of back when I worked at Panera, and we have a barista and she's like, I'm quitting or whatever. I'm like, why? Because they expect me to make all these drinks. And I'm like, I thought you were a barista. It's the same thing with being a man. It's like, I'm done with this stuff. I'm sick of this. And it's like, what's wrong? Bro, she want me to do this. She want me to do that. You want me to do this. And then when he's listing those things, it's take care of my kid. Let's say that they've broken up. Come see my kid. Come pick him up. She wants me to pay for this, pay for that. And it's like, you had a child, whatever. So, definitely I think that not bitching about it is a big key. Right. Because I don't like when, I feel like if you're complaining about something, like, complaining is one thing. And it's like, if you're complaining about something that either you signed up for or something that you need to do to get to an outcome you want, then that's where I have a problem.
Right. And that's not to say that to hold everything in either. there's because there is like the negative side of being like masculine is not accepting help. You know what I mean? Like not, holding it all in. And it's like, I'm not opposed to therapy, right? Like I'm not opposed to talking to your wife, talking to your girlfriend, you know what I mean? Like that's sort of not the only intention, but that's one of the benefits of having a partner in general is that you, over time, you have a person that knows you better than you know yourself, right? And vice versa. And then when things are going bad, you have this one vision in your household, or you should, and that's hard to do, by the way, but you have this one vision, and then you go off and you fulfill the responsibilities and obligations according to the vision, right? According to the two people that are there. And then that's what the family is for. Like, there's nothing wrong to me. It's like, if you're going to complain to anyone, definitely complain to your wife, but just don't do it in the spirit of, because a lot of people try to complain as a way, and I did this was a huge fucking problem for me that I still go through to this day, complaining, hoping that someone will just take shit off my plate secretly, which is like secretly asking for help. But even worse than that, especially when I was growing up, even worse than that is complaining enough to annoy people so that they just say, you know what, fuck it, bro, I'll just do it. And that, you know what I mean? And I used to do that. That was like a shitty little boy tactic that I used to employ. Even when I opened the studio, like this is all part of me leaving Bankrows also. This is one of my character flaws, right? So I know this intimately. And I'll tell y'all right now, that shit does not pan out well for you. It doesn't. It just means that things will get taken from you and you will get lil boyed, and you deserve it.
Yeah.
So it's, whatever problems that you take, that you choose, because you can choose the problems, right? And that's also part of being a man. I think part of being a man is the ability to say no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because as soon as you say yes, if you say yes to everybody, then, as soon as you say yes, that is a responsibility. That becomes an obligation, right? Yeah, so it's like saying yes to the right things, saying yes to the things that are going to be better for not only yourself, but for the people around you, I think is like a masculine tendency, generally speaking.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, to piggyback off of you, kind of your thing is that you're heavy on the responsibility for sure. And like, kind of like the responsibility and like the execution, it sounds like, which is what I've been learning a lot lately, is the execution part of being a man. Like, I want to do this because I'm in the early phases of, becoming a man. Oh, let me not say that. That sounds weird. In the early stages of like finding out what a man is, I'll say. Yeah. And that's been the biggest thing, is the execution. Cause it's like, I know what I want to do, and I know, everything that I want to be. And it's like, okay, it's 23 is at that age to do all that shit and stop talking about it. So really the execution is heavy. But I mean, another thing that I've been kind of thinking about with being a man is like what you said about knowing when to say no. So it's like priorities, I guess,
for sure,
knowing what to prioritize. Cause it's like, I have to now, because I realized that I was stretching myself thin because, people pleaser. And like,
for sure. Yeah.
People pleasing is probably the worst trait to have as a man, because when you're people pleasing, you're going to let someone down and your word becomes less meaningful. And it's not because you are not good. It's just because you sign up for too much shit.
And you can't handle it. And I've done that. And I still kind of do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is also something I need to tamp down. And for me, and like going broke and leaving Bankrows and having blowouts with my girlfriend, and my kids and stuff, that all kind of coalesced into now surviving all of that. Right. In hindsight, it's like, okay, there were a lot of things that I did that was trying to escape responsibility. I put too much on her in an unfair way. Right. And so now it's recapturing the responsibility, although recapturing the responsibility is going to take time. But certain things, like you talk about execution, it's like a lot of people overly plan, right? And it's like you are not, from a masculine standpoint, right? Like if we're going to bring it into this, just because you have the vision does not mean you're a man, right? Yeah. You have to go out and do the thing, right? Yeah. And you have to be steadfast in that. And you have to, be the leader. And when things get tough, you are the rock, and you have to understand that, right? That's, to me, that's what being a man, a part of being a man is because quite frankly, no one gives a shit about how a man feels, generally speaking. But at the same time, it's like they really shouldn't. Like, this is why you should have some like guy friends, right? Yeah. But it's like, a lot, but and I know things are unfair and things get pushed on people a lot, but you have to willingly take the responsibility, even if the responsibility was just kind of thrown at you, right? If it's a responsibility that you are unable to escape, you have to take it, right? And then deal with that and solve that problem, because otherwise you just kind of stay in your basement and you play Xbox and that type of shit, right? That's sort of like the worst end of that type of shit.
Yeah, and when you said, because it's like, I know, there might be empathetic women or women who don't agree with, who hear that and hear. I mean, not that many women will be listening, because this is I kind of targeted you men today, but for any women who might have seen this on Reels or Instagram and see that or hear that you said people don't care about men's feelings. When I kind of been playing with that a lot, talking about that no one cares about how we feel and shit like that. But it's like when you said that they shouldn't, that's so true, because now it kind of leads me right into the next thing we're going to talk about in the gender roles that, traditionally speaking, because a lot of our ideologies are kind of, nuanced with the Bible and things like that. But traditionally speaking, like when it comes to the gender roles, I think that makes a lot of sense that you shouldn't. When I was growing up, now that I have my therapist and things like that, they will always ask, about my upbringing, and I will always talk about, my mom was really blunt and this and that and all that. And it's like, that really is needed. I feel like maybe, I don't know what makes some men go down the wrong path or, not lean into their masculinity, but I feel like too much softness could be a thing.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons, man. I was there. I was the basement gamer, because you got to remember, you're 23, right? And you're operating in the level that I am operating at 32. And actually, I would even argue you're operating at a higher level. Although I have my kids as an excuse, so fuck you.
I mean, but if I had kids, bro, I don't know what would be going on.
No, you would still be hustling, but like you didn't make. I don't even want to say having the kids was a mistake, but it took in my 20s, at 20, right? Because I opened Bankrows, I think at like 26. At 20, when I turned 20, I was still getting drunk, getting high, playing Call of Duty with my friends. You know what I mean? And working at a restaurant at 20, living with my mom. Like, I really moved out of my mom's house at like 28. I was still at Bankrows when I was living at my mom's house.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And so I'm like a late bloomer, but it's like all of these things. It's like I had to undo a lot of shit. And the catastrophe of what happened at Bankrows, and it blew my life up. It forced me to fall into the responsibilities of being a man instead of subverting them, right? And there is also something, I will say this. Sometimes I go back and forth and be like, what is the actual responsibility of just a human being or a man or a woman? It's the alarm.
It's hot out there.
It's the, yeah.
Shit. Thanks.
Yep. Someone found $5 worth of weed. So they got to go shoot him.
Oh my God.
No. So yeah. So, but just as a man, and I can only speak as a man, I can only hypothesize about the responsibilities of women. Right. But we're not really talking about that. So I will say, what the fuck were you talking about before I started rambling?
No,
what was the whole point?
The gender roles.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there are within a household, there are certain needs that need to be met. Women take on some and men take on some. And generally speaking, the idea of gender roles, like framed in like the church way, is that woman is the house and nurturing, men is the protection and the wealth, I suppose, the providing, right? And so it makes it easier in relationships, because when you're united in that way, because it's already established, right? And like, modern relationships are tougher because those things that used to be just implied and understood are being questioned now. And I'm still not one of those people who are like, men should only make money, women should only stay at home. Right. You know what I mean? I think that generally speaking, that works easier, at least it has traditionally. But if you're sort of a feminine guy or you're a masculine woman, right, there's nothing wrong with.
Yeah, there's probably some, because there's definitely a lot of roles that we interchange, like me and her. I mean, she's a spider killer. So
so it's like
there are things you have to interchange for sure.
And that's why, like, we talked about this on an earlier episode where it's just as long as the responsibilities are met in your household, right? It starts in the household, because a lot of people try to take they try to take what society says and impose it into their household. But it's like, you have to know who your partner is and you have to know who yourself are. And arguably your partner knows who you are better than you. And that's why you keep adjusting each other. That's why you need a good moral person, because if you have a malicious, evil, narcissistic type of like person who just wants to pass the buck onto somebody else so they don't have any responsibility. They trick you out of your masculinity. They trick you into their roles or feminine, depending, right? So it's, so you have to be mindful of that, where it's like there are like the house has to be kept like today. Every day I wake up and I do the dishes every day. So
you heard that?
I don't mind doing the dishes.
You heard that, Nita?
I'll throw in some laundry. You know what I mean? Like I'm not opposed to that.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like I take my kids to school. I watch my kids on the weekend. Like these are generally like feminine things, but it's just the way our personal family life is set up in order to move the ball forward and break through, because there will be an adjustment when that's possible, because neither of us are perfectly satisfied. Me and her are perfectly satisfied in our situation right now.
Right. And it's like, and it's, I think there has to become some type of, like, when it comes to those gender roles, whenever, like, let's say money isn't right, because if money isn't right, it's hard to do your roles, because it's hard. So when money isn't right, there has to be an understanding, and there has to be just an understanding that, this is going to be like this until the money, we have to understand that it's the money, right? You love me, I love you, everything was cool, but it's the money right now, right? But, the one thing that, has really been helping me lean into my faith, because I've been kind of on this, self-development journey, trying to get better and better. And like, religion's been a huge part of that. Like, it makes so much sense. Like, once I really sit down and think, like, the way we're made, because it's like, men are made to think logical. Women they think emotionally. And it would be hard for the women to be the protector, because emotions are gonna might cloud what to do, or what to how to protect or whatever,
right?
And it's like, for men, it would be hard for us to just, obviously there are a lot of men who are stay-at-home dads, and it's like, obviously you can learn and be that, but naturally it's like, men would, baby's crying, stop crying, logically you shouldn't be crying, I fed you, I did this, I did that, what do you need? So it's like, you need that nice. I love the roles, because again, logic protects people. I think logic keeps you alive. Emotions keep you happy. That's what I think. Emotions make sure you feel good, but you also need that logical shield. So
I'll tell you some bad dad shit that I did, some toxic masculinity shit, where my kid was crying and I was tired of shit and I had 2 hours of sleep or whatever. And she was crying and it was like 3 a.m. and I just punched my fucking sink because I was frustrated. And then she stopped crying. She stopped crying. And then I put her to bed. And the next day I woke up and I was like, I shouldn't do that. I'm sorry. I punched the sink. And she's like, it's okay. She's a very sweet child. But yeah, that's how I react. Like, no, generally speaking, women don't react with violence.
Yeah,
generally speaking,
and which is good, right? And I feel like when men do, and I feel like, just to wrap this one up, like when men are, it's like you gotta expect whatever your flaws are, you have to expect and be able to take it from your spouse, because it's gonna, whatever you do wrong, it's normalized because you're the man and you're the leader.
Sure.
So she thinks it's okay. So if you get mad, if you're like me and you blow your top easily and you're doing that, it's way easier for her to do that. I will say she was never like, I guess I can't speak to it too much, but once my anger got worse and I'm like not being as nice to the dog, yelling at him and screaming at him, I swear she was more like that. Before she was always like and all that, like, stop, chill out. But like, as I start to blow my top more, it's like, she's like, yeah, this is what we do, and I have to, and I'm like, that's why I never say anything, because I'm like, I am worse. So I need to get back to, because they say that your partner ends up being a reflection of you, at the end of the day.
Right.
And regardless if someone is a reflection of you, people see themselves in other people anyway. But
yeah, for sure.
That's dope. When it comes to like branching off into like this entrepreneurship and like the honeymoon phase of it, for you, what is the honeymoon phase of entrepreneurship? And let's start there. What is the honeymoon phase of entrepreneurship?
Well, it's the optimistic naivety of the future, right? And like when you jump into something, the excitement of the new thing, right? Before the work, it's sort of like the planning stage. It's like the vision stage. It's like you have a vision, right? You're gonna like open a barber shop, right? And then you get the keys, and you're like, yeah. And then you go in and you turn the lights on. You're like, I'm gonna have a release. Right. And you're riding this fucking high, and then you open the door and no one comes in.
Yep.
Right. And it's like, And then you can just, and then slowly that goes away, and then you think, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't be a barber. You know what I mean?
Right. Because it's too hard.
Because it's too, or not necessarily because it's too hard, but it's like just not an understanding that, okay, now the work starts, right? Like now you have to market. Now you got to get asses in the chair. Now you got to go find other barbers and rent these seats out and all that type of shit, right? And and so the honeymoon phase to me is like sort of this naivety, this idea of what it's going to be in your head, right? Like like in a relationship honeymoon phase, like you only see the good in each other, and it's all new and it's exciting. And, it's the same thing with entrepreneurship, where it's like you have the vision for what it is and what it could provide for your life and who you could be and what you could provide and all of that. And, very rapidly the reality sets in, because this is what people don't understand. There's a phrase I really like with entrepreneurship, is that we work 80 hours a week so we don't have to work 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And it's like, a lot of people jump into entrepreneurship thinking that it's going to be a fuckload of money way easier because they don't have to split it with boss. They get the whole pie.
Right.
But, when
there's a reason why there's pie.
There's a reason why because whenever anything goes wrong, it's your fault. So, a lot of people, they just jump from thing to thing to thing and then quit when it gets hard. Right. Those are the entrepreneurs. That's the term, the entrepreneurs, right? Where it's like, and people don't, people just want to do the thing that's the easiest now. And people could get very rapidly stuck in that honeymoon phase. And when you feel like things are going bad, people think you're not ever supposed to feel that. And that's true in relationships too. Like people who jump from relationship to relationship after shit gets hard, because they're like, if there's a negative thing, the person who I'm with isn't supposed to make me feel this way. And the same thing with entrepreneurship, where it's like, I did this so that I wouldn't have to deal with the stress of work. Right. So if it's making me feel this way, that's wrong. So it must go back to work. Well, it's not even that. This must not be what I'm passionate about. You know what I mean? Because I've been a professional engineer for 8 years, and I'll tell you right fucking now that it's not always fun. Yeah. Especially now when I have to wake up and take my kid to school and I'm up till 2 a.m. and I'm up for like 20 hours and I'm recording motherfuckers and all that type of shit. And it's like, it's bad. Sometimes it is not. Sometimes it sucks, especially the repetitive motion. That's also, by the way, why they call it a grind, because it is repetitive motion over and over and over and over and over. That's what a grind is. It's repetitive motion to sharpen the thing. Motion. Yeah. Talk about honeymoon.
No, bye, bro. And bro, like when it comes to like what I think of it, because just so you know, so backstory, my pre-media page, I've had that since like 2015. That was my first photography page. And that was just one of like, that was my first backup page. Excuse me. That was the first backup page for my photography page. And I would just seeing like, cause I was going through just unfollowing some people just to keep it clean. Yeah. And I just seen so many honeymoon phase entrepreneurs that created this Instagram page, about to start this clothing line. It's about to be great. And they have one picture, and that was 2 years ago. Yeah. And they never even kept it going. Or artists, like there's one guy I follow. And I actually know this guy. So it's like, if he watches this, like, I'm not dissing you. I just understand what happened. But I saw on his page, like, he was like, I think it was the start of this year. He's like, I'm going to drop 100 songs this year, starting today. Yeah. And it's like, wow, I'm thinking he must have them all recorded. And then after 8 days, that was it. And it's like, we have this big idea, and it's like that execution part. It's like what usually happens is I posted 3 of these so far, no views, I'm done. Right. And with this podcast, like I've literally told myself there won't be a week I don't record. There won't be a week where I don't post. I don't care how many views we get.
Right.
Any video.
Yeah. Well, what I've been saying is I don't care about episode. I only care until like before I start, because I watched the first episode, I said episode 10, but really I don't care until like episode 50 as far as that's concerned, right? And that's the way to do it, right? Because the work, I just made a post the other day where it's, if you do the job you're supposed to do today, the future reveals itself. And I think that entrepreneurs or these honeymoon phase entrepreneurs get addicted to living in the future. They don't live in the present, and then when the present hits, they're like, 100 songs, and then one thing throws you off your whole shit. But the point of committing to, let's say, the 100 songs, the point is that you commit to what is required to be a rapper, which is make songs, right? Or like with what we're doing with this podcast, we're committing to, minimum once a week, right? Or whatever. And it's like, so you commit to what is required. And then when you get that incorporated into your life, the the task that needs to be done, then you can start thinking about growth.
Right.
But you can't think about growth if there's nothing to grow.
Right. Like, and I'm like a huge, because I've been trying to grow and like give people more grace, but I do just hate when people are complaining with no plan.
Yeah.
You know, because my thing is I'm not even the type of person anymore where I'm like, everyone should be an entrepreneur. But I'm like, if you want to be rich, then that's when it's like, if you're telling me you're going to get rich at your job, it's like, okay, where do you work? You know, my mom's a lawyer. She's making, you know, upwards of 250 a year. So, I mean, if you go that route, sure. But it's like, otherwise, you know, you're not getting rich at Starbucks. You're not getting rich at these places. So that's what I'm always like. Oh, I can't wait to go on this vacation. Like, I hate when people think that that everything is not possible. Like, I get really mad when anyone tells me they can't do anything. I don't care who you are. Like, because I even had to check my mom. She says something about what did she say, bro? All I know is I just was like, Mom, like, no, like you definitely can, you know, type of shit. Because but to kind of keep it going, because I can rant about that too much. How do you survive the honeymoon phase?
Just doing the work that's required, you know, and this is where passion kicks in. So, okay, so I made a commitment a long time ago that no matter, like pre-bank rose, that no matter what happens, I am going to see this through all the way to the end. Before my kids were born, before anything, I made a commitment to music, no matter what. And when when quitting ceases to be an option, genuinely though, when quitting ceases to be an option, all you see are pathways through the forest. Because you can you know, there's something else I like to say is sometimes the only path through the jungle is through it.
Yeah.
You know, and because it's like you turn around, you can go back to safety and security, but you know what's there. Yeah. Why did you jump into the jungle in the first place? Right. It's like you have to remember that. And that's sort of where passion takes over, because I don't think this is my future as an engineer. Like, not what I could be or not what I think my ideal self is, but I think that I could be an engineer forever. I could record people forever. It's not tough for me spiritually, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, to me, it's, you know, you have to have confidence in the vision that you have, and then you have to remove quitting as an option.
Right.
And if you do that, genuinely do that, then paths get revealed to you, because people come in thinking they're not going to get hurt. You're going to get fucked up in this period. It is not avoidable. And there's something else I like to say where it's like, you are exactly where you're supposed to be, flat out. So if you are fucked up, it's because you don't know something, or you don't know someone, or there's a flaw in your character. Right. It's the knowledge, or it's a character flaw, or it's a network issue, right? Generally speaking, there's probably more threads, but there's a problem. And the solution isn't entrepreneurship is hard by. The solution is not the market sucks. The solution is not my customers piss me off. Yep. The solution is what is stopping me from getting to the next checkpoint, right? And then if you but it has to be, you have to commit. You have to commit to entrepreneurship, or you have to commit to the business. You have to commit to a thing. And that doesn't mean like put a deadline, because rappers do this all the time. If I blow up by 30, I'm quitting. Why?
Yeah.
What the fuck, bro?
What type of goal? Don't set a goal like that. That's not an actual
I am
goal.
32 and I'm going to pop out rapper next year, and I'm going to be 33 when I pop out. Probably. You know what I mean? And it's like, but that's whatever. But it's like, you just commit to the pathway. And I promise, if you commit to the pathway and you understand that you cannot quit, then opportunities will arise. In the same way that's why you get married, fundamentally. Going back to masculinity, you get married because you're committing that you will never be away from this person. And it's in the vows. It's sickness, health, others, rich, poor, whatever. And there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is because shit is hard, and it's going to be hard. And so if you can't run away or cheat or do this, right, then the only option is to work it out. And there are options. I like, you know, and it's the same thing. Like, that's why you make a commitment. And then discipline has to take over, because it's like people just, I don't know. I think a lack of commitment is an issue, and then discipline would be a secondary thing. And discipline for me is a thing that I'm definitely working on myself. You know what I mean? It's hard. It's the hardest thing to do, which is why the most disciplined people have the highest rewards. Right. You know, like it's because it's very hard to do. You know, there are literally people right now working regular 9-to-5 jobs, not because they're unable to be entrepreneurs or leaders or whatever, it's because they don't have the discipline to weather the storm, right? And it's like, but that's a choice an individual person has to make. You know what I mean? And again, it's like, it depends on what you want out of life. But us as entrepreneurs, we have to be top tier, best people, highest virtues, refined, like, you know, sharpened blade, because we have to fight the hardest. You know what I mean? Like, whereas a regular person can just work the 40 hours, get their 80,000 a year and go home. And if that's cool for you, that's cool for you. But as entrepreneurs, I'm not cool with that. I can't do that. I feel shitty about that. And people will say, well, you should go to therapy and deal with that. It's like, no, this is just how I'm cut.
Yeah, dude. Like,
you know, like, I want more. You only get one life, and I want to maximize that. I want to maximize my potential, whatever that means. So,
whoever said that, bro, what a dick. Like,
no, that's everybody though. That's everybody.
It's like, you should go to therapy for being okay with mediocrity. Like,
that's how I feel.
Well,
that's how I feel.
Truth. I feel like if you're okay with mediocrity, like, everyone fits in a place, but like, just, if he would have came at me like that, that's what I would have said. But obviously that's not a generalized blanket statement.
Well, you know, you got to understand that real entrepreneurs, it's maybe, I would put it at like 5% of the population. Truly.
Like, actually, like, entrepreneurs, like, people are actually doing it. And it's, for like,
well, I'm sorry, not people doing it, people who have no choice but to do it,
right,
you know, which is, I would put myself in that category. You know, I'd put you in that category, obviously.
Now at this point, and it's crazy. Like, before I jumped into this business full time, like, you know, she actually, you know, when it comes to my next question was going to be like, no, I already asked, how do you survive the phase? And for me, with her, it was like, you know, I think having a good, Alex Ramosi said this all the time, you know, him and his wife are like business
Layla, right?
Yeah. And he was just talking about, you know, the right woman will really help you, like, especially through the honeymoon phase of entrepreneurship, because everyone has it. And once it's over, like, you know, that's when you figure out if you're an entrepreneur or not, I think. And that's when, for men, if you figure out if you're a man or not. And that was really when I had to wake up, because, like, before I jumped into this thing, I was like, hey, I'm quitting my job. And I was like, can you hold it down for a second? You know, I had to come to her and ask her. And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, don't worry, it's gonna be quick. It's about to be like a few weeks, bro. We about to be popped out. And like, almost a year later, you know, of her holding it down while I'm fucking, you know, having days where I'm just crying the whole day, just, you know, going through the motions of going through grief, you know, because I'm like, I made all these graphics because I'm like, I love doing ADHD, makes you focus on the tasks that are fun. And I was
for sure
only focusing on making the graphics, making this, making that. I made all these damn logos and shit. And I was like, fuck, like, I gotta do calls and I gotta do this shit. And it was like, I'm depressed and we were in a bad place. I'm not feeling like she's paying for shit. And this is just unrelated, but like, literally, like, she comes home, like, when we had moved, she had brought all this shit, like, she had she went to the place. For one, I told her, like, there's not that much shit at that place. Like, just go and bring the shit back, because she was like right after work. It was a whole bunch of shit that keeps her there for hours. She gets home, brings all the shit in by herself, because I didn't know she was home. And then, like, I see that she brought the shit. I ran upstairs. I'm like, fuck you do that for? Like, what? She's just like, I thought I was helping. Like, and I'm like, bro, like, no, that's my job. And it's like, I had to, like, it was so much emotions. Like, I was just so, and that was just me being mad. I'm sitting here, but not $1 to my name, just sitting here screaming at you because you brought all this shit. And it's just like that. You have to really, like, you know, emotions. You know, I feel like in the entrepreneurship phase or the honeymoon phase of entrepreneurship, your emotions need to be reeled in, because it's a very emotional state. Because it's super fucking scary, especially if you're a man trying to do it. Not to say it's not scary for a woman, but if you're a man, you're supposed to lead. So if this goes wrong, it's fucked up. For her, like, I mean, not to say if it doesn't go wrong, if her shit go wrong, like, it's not fucked up, but it's like, I got you. Like, I got you. Not to say she doesn't have me, but our job is to have them.
Well, look, here's my paranoia, and this, I don't care what anyone says. Gender dynamics with men and women. A woman can just leave and go find someone more stable.
Yeah, immediately.
Generally speaking, you know what I mean? Like, a man
go jump on a yacht. Now she's good.
Right. A man is judged based on his ability to provide. Generally speaking, right. Especially the older you get.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's what women are looking for. Security.
So especially me going through this shit, and still a little bit now, because like I said, I'm still I'm on an up now, because you know, things are going. But there were definitely times where I had to check myself, and I was basically yelling at Bianca for being helpful, but really it was me wishing that I could do more and upset at myself that she did it.
Yes.
But that's also makes, you know, I'm blessed that I have a good woman, because I was a foot out the door and she reeled me back in. If it wasn't for her, like, I would have fucked my life up for sure. So, you know, that's a blessing that I have a woman that good, that will stick by me through my most demonic, fiendish ways.
I mean, I agree. Same shit, like, same story, different age, I guess. Like, yelling at her for helping. I'm like, why'd you pay for that? Did you pay for that? Why'd you pay for that? It's like, who the fuck was gonna pay for it, Jace? Who's gonna take care of it? So it's like, dude, you just gotta like to kind of wrap up this, and this is perfect, for you, in one word, what's the key to getting out of the honeymoon phase of entrepreneurship? What's your one word?
Discipline. It's gotta be.
Discipline. I won't use discipline. I'll say execution.
Yeah.
I'll say execution, and just to wrap it up, you can't get mad at people for not believing you if you never prove them wrong. Like, you can get mad at people for not believing you. That's like, once Jay-Z goes platinum one time, anyone who doesn't believe him after that, fuck you. But it's like, before you go platinum and you're saying you're going to go platinum, do it, right?
Yeah, you got to go platinum in your head before you go platinum in real life.
Exactly.
Like, flat out.
Exactly. And you need to make sure, like, when people are doubting you, like, understand that. Don't take anything personal. When people are doubting you, it's probably it's the reflection of them. They're thinking, well, I can do that, so you can't either, type of shit. That's usually what it is. Or just thinking, that something needs to be just, that won't work. That won't work that way or that quick as you think it might. And you need to prove them, or you need to show people that it will. You can't get mad at people for not seeing what's in your head, especially, I mean, entrepreneurs, like, this is or not entrepreneurs, people with ADHD, high functioning autism, your brains are like, I saw the one guy, it's like a Ferrari engine. There's a lot going on in there. So
your brakes suck.
Exactly. So it's like, you need to understand that not everyone has that same brain that thinks about shit all damn day, because people with ADHD, entrepreneurs, only think about the future all day. Every day I'm sitting anywhere, I'm thinking about 10 days from now. I don't even see it right now. It's October 5th. It feels like October's almost over for me based on what needs to be accomplished.
Yeah,
so it's
I
like
get that. Yeah.
We need to slow down and keep some things to yourself. Don't take things personal. That part has to happen. The part of you, executing has to happen. You can't just think you deserve shit because you have all these really good plans, right? And like, have you? I'm not even gonna keep going there. I'm actually let us wrap that up. Actually, but for you,
we're doing better.
We're doing a lot better. We have our ADHD.
Our ADHD alarm is it's been helpful.
So just so you guys know what that is. So Anita's here. She has her phone and she has 3 colors for us. She has red, yellow, and green to let us know when to get to not red, yellow, and green. Oh yeah,
it's because we're hitting the gas.
I feel green. So green is like, so I just meant it. Yeah, that was me just saying that we had green. We don't even have green.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now you're just talking and you're not listening to me. So fuck you, type shit.
Yeah.
I feel that. And we'll get you mic'd up next week so they can hear you and you can even say, "Hey, shut up."
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool.
We need you thrown into this for sure.
But for you, man, I mean, we only did a 2-topic episode today, so we kind of kept the time really good. Just some closing one-liners for for what it takes to be a man, and then the honeymoon phase of entrepreneurship.
When you take on the responsibility, or responsibility is thrust on you, and it's something that is fairly thrust on you, I would say, or even unfairly, part of being a man is taking that and solving that problem. And society in general and people in general champion those type of people. Like, we like the man, the dad, who when he goes over to someone's house and he sees the gutter is falling off, he doesn't say shit, he just goes up and fixes it. Like, there's something very endearing about that. And I would say that's like peak masculinity, is the person who is there to make sure that everything else is taken care of, right? Generally speaking. Now, if you're a young guy, it's, make sure you are taken care of first and foremost. Right. And fill your own cup. The phrase I always use is, an empty cup can't pour. Make sure you take care of yourself, and then you fill your cup, and then you allow everything to fall to the people around you. And so discipline, responsibility, health, those things are important.
Health
as a man, right? That's also something that I suck at, but I'm still losing some weight. I'm chugging along. And then the honeymoon phase is commit to never quitting. Every problem is solvable. I don't care what your personality type is. If you believe that there's a solution will become available to you. It doesn't matter if it's 1 month. It doesn't matter if it's 3 years. If you're hitting a wall, you have to find a way through, around, or over it,
right,
or under it. But you can't turn around, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, make sure that you understand that this is just a problem and every problem has a solution, and be disciplined, right? And if it's something you can't do, learn to do it or find someone who can, and then have a mutually beneficial reason for them to come together, which is kind of what the core of business and partnerships are in the first place. Don't just bring everybody on for no fucking reason. You know what I mean? It's like they have to serve a function, and that function has to be something that covers your ass. But I would also say that if there's a problem, anything you can solve yourself, do it. Generally speaking, just because it's good to know the inner work, especially when we're talking specifically honeymoon phase shit, right? So it's like, figure out, incorporate as little people as humanly possible and fix everything. Because when you're in this first 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years of whatever your niche is, then there is something to be said about learning everything.
Yes.
And having at least a surface level understanding of all the things before you start incorporating other people.
Before you start incorporating other people. And
I'll
speak to that in a second, because that's what I fucked up on.
It's a very loose rule, though. It's not always, not always, you know what I mean?
Incorporate, like in the early phases, the people you incorporate need to also, I think, be entrepreneurs. Honestly, you need to have like-minded people in the early phases, because you need to have someone who isn't going to like think shit is going to shit once something goes wrong, because those people will make you think. Because unless you're someone who's that stoic, but if you're not, because I'm not as stoic as I can be, and if someone else panicking sometimes makes me panic,
when you're the leader, you have to sell a vision.
Yeah.
Flat out. Yeah. So with you, we had a conversation through a text, and I was kind of asking an ETA on the programs.
Oh, yeah.
And then you gave me a voice message of like, don't think that shit's not happening. And I was like, and then I had to tell you like, no, I know it's happening. That was just a genuine question. When? I'm not trying to rush. I'm just curious, because you're working in silence, but it's like, but I trust you and I trust your vision. You've explained enough of it to me where I'm on board.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like, and there is a dynamic here where it's like, I'll do whatever you need me to do, but you're the leader of this. And with that and if you have the vision, you have the responsibility. I mean, it's solely on you.
Right.
Because you're the leader. You have the responsibility to take that vision that you explained to us and bring it to real life. Right. And what happens with weak leaders is that they either aren't able to get to that vision and are dishonest about that. Or
they blame you guys,
or they blame their employees, or they blame the customers.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's like it's vision first, right? And so when you start, your vision is so important. When you bring other people in, you have to sell people on your vision.
Yeah.
And that has to come from a place of passion. You have to paint a world that they could exist in and then fulfill it, which is also where I went wrong with Bankrolls, because I painted this vision and it didn't come to fruition. Now, a lot of that is my fault. A lot of it is not my fault, because me and my partner had basically conflicting visions.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's also another danger, but we don't have to talk about that. But
oh yeah, we're gonna get into that, as we progress with these episodes. But my little one-liners, man, when it comes to being a man, I want to reference this really good interview Obama did when he was just talking about his one-liner was, the guy who gets stuff, like I like the guy who gets stuff, like you were saying, the guy who gets stuff done. That guy gets paid, not the guy who's going to point out the problem and say, hey, you guys have, it's like, where are the tools to fix this? Because I see this. That's the guy who gets paid. So yeah, I think that's what it really is being a man. I find myself a lot, and I saw why Nita wasn't leading as easy as I wanted to, or as much as I wanted to, is because I would always go to her for confirmation. Okay, should we go here? Is it okay if I go here? And I didn't have my glasses for like 3 months. So I'm like, is this a stop? Like I'm asking her for everything. So it's like she's leading, So it's like you have to, when you see a problem and you have a solution, don't doubt that until it doesn't work.
And you don't even have to discuss it. I think the most responsible, hardworking men are people that, masculine men, right? Are the ones who see a problem and solve it before anyone even knows it's a problem. And I think that's where you need to get to.
I need to get there because I'm still not there.
Well, you're also 23, and I'm also, like I said, I'm 32, and I'm nowhere close to that shit. And that also has to do with resources, right? That has to do with, shit like,
They don't teach us that in school, obviously.
Well, that's, school is school.
They teach us how to listen.
School is bullshit, generally speaking, but that's a whole other episode. But yeah, it's getting yourself to that point. I would even argue, if I could do it all again, if I could do it all again in the proper way, I would, I'd get my bag right first and foremost before I incorporated women flat out.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And next thing, I mean, is just everything is your fault. If you're a man, everything is your fault, and you need to own that. So like, I'll just
no one feels bad for you except your mom. You know what I mean? And
make sure that you believe that though. Like when things are not going wrong in your household, just take it all on as you. Don't if you're blaming your wife, cool. Let's say it is her fault. You're gonna have to wait for her to fix it. How about you? Because this is real life. Me applying this, so this is actually beautiful. I can't wait for me and Nita to kind of start the relationship things and things like that on the podcast. But we were having a problem with communication. She wasn't telling me when things bothered her, and it would cause her to hold it in, and then she would blow up, and I would do the same. It was back and forth.
Yeah.
And then the other day, probably like over a week ago, I'm a morning person. She's not, and we're on our way to the gym, and it's just like she's just like, bro, I don't like not smiling in the morning. I like being, especially entrepreneur. I have to be like this, or
morning people are psychotic people,
dudes. But it's like, what the fuck? And then I think what she did was try to let me know this. I'm not mad at you, and here's what it is. And she was like, oh, so tired. That's what she said. And I was like, yeah, I'm never bringing you here again. This and that and the third. and then she just was like, got sad and shit. I'm like, they get to the gym. She's like, I didn't really like that. I didn't like that you said that. I'm just tired. And I feel like, this is a new thing we're trying to do. And it's like, I feel like new things take time to adjust. And I was like, you're right. I'm sorry. You know, and now like same thing, today in the morning, she's, waking up, she looks kind of upset. And I'm like, well, I want her to, be happy by the time we get here. So what do I do? I'm like, instead of just being like, she's mad and get mad about it. I'm like, okay, I walk over like, okay, she woke up, what you need? She's like, oh, she left her leggings that she needs to wear, she was looking for leggings. I'm like, okay, I know where they are. Okay, next, what's going on? She's like, well, I left my clothes in the car. Like, go out to her car, bring the clothes back in. What else? And then I'm like, okay, she's tired. Like, you need some Starbucks. I'm like, we stop at Starbucks. And like, by the time we get here, she's happy. She's smiling. And I feel like if I hadn't done those things, she would probably still be like that.
That's 100%. And even to take that beyond, because what did we say earlier, like in the conversation, is at the peak of that is a man who just does the things without needing to ask. And that to me is like true leadership, right? Because it's like, now the step beyond that would be you just get her yoga pants, clothes, you pull into Starbucks and you give her the shit without her even saying anything.
Right.
Because here's what I noticed with Bianca. Like, we love Tim Hortons. We're a Tim Hortons family. Okay. Go fuck yourself.
We're Panera at the least, but then at least Starbucks.
You're a treacherous piece of shit. Tim Hortons is where it's at. Anyway. I started getting in the habit of, if I just go out, right? Like today I did it. I took my kid to school, came back, I stopped at Tim Hortons, and I just got her a coffee and a bacon, egg, and cheese. And she was still in bed. And I gave it to my youngest, who's 2 years old. And I was like, give this to mommy. And she ran into the bed with the thing. And she's like, bacon, egg, and cheese, and she like woke up like, she woke up like that, and she was like, happy as shit, right? Yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, there is a good argument to be made that, like, the mind reader thing, like, I'm not a fucking mind reader, bitch. Where it's like, it's like you kind of at least with
follow patterns.
Well, you're right. At least with things, because it's not a mind reader in that sense. It's what do you know will help her get her in the mood, in the right mood, right? And then just do those things without asking, and you will basically never have a problem, I think. But that's easier said than done.
Right. And it's like, whenever it is something external, because obviously there are mental battles that women face, with a lot of different things. You have hormonal things and all these things, and it's like, I'm so sorry. And it just sounds like it sucks.
Yeah, I'm so glad I have a dick. I'm not gonna lie.
But this is a dangerous thing. I'm still gonna say it, but like, I just feel like whenever your woman is not happy, it's your fault. And until you find out that it's not. So the way you find out that it's not, do everything that needs to be done, do everything that can be done. And then I feel like
this is why this is so complex, not to cut you off though, because but there is a level of doing too much that women don't like. There's a fine line of now you're just looking crazy, right?
That's probably where I get to a lot.
Maybe. Right. But that also depends on, that's why you have to know, and it goes back to, that's why commitment is important and good. And you're not just banging a bunch of bitches and having short-term relationships, because, a lot of guys who like just bang a bunch of bitches think they're good with women, but you're not. You're good. You're good
getting it.
You're good with getting pussy. You're not good at dealing with another person. Right. Like, and that's what, there is something to be said about committing to one person to learn the thing about them, because it provides a deeper relationship over time. Like, that's, I'm all for that shit. Like, we did it at the your boy S boy shit. with the relationships. I said something like that to the effect of like what was the question? She never had a hoe phase. I'll spill the beans on this now. I was like, what's the opposite of a deal breaker? You know what I mean? It's like,
well, I wish they would have asked me that one because
they did.
They did. I probably didn't answer. I was kind of answering.
You
vanilla.
threw up.
I was answering vanilla.
No, you're good.
Very vanilla.
You did
she was there.
But I gotta go now. You want last word?
No. Yeah, no, you gotta go. This is.
You can see that's why we need a camera. Yeah,
I don't know.
You gotta live in truth.
Guys' feelings don't matter.
We don't matter.
Feeling like Carmelo, now she wanna ride. Pussy like a mirror, I just put my Air Force Ones to the pedal. Yeah. Premium t-shirt, been in my star, been in the game, you in the bleachers. We in the car, she wanna bang, shorty a keeper. She throw it back, make it a shake, having a seizure.
I'm in Cheap Watch gang. Mine's a Hidden Hill, which is like not a brand.
Damn.
Like they made
at least get a Casio, bro.
They nope.